The entire royal banquet hall fell into a deathly silence. Every noble's gaze was fixed on me, filled with undisguised mockery and contempt. Lade Grey, my nominal fiancé, walked toward me slowly with 3 beautiful beta women in his arms. His posture arrogant and cruel. He looked down at me and spoke loudly, deliberately making sure everyone in the hall could hear. Israel, do you truly believe that a mere political contract can bind the heir of the Grey family? I raised my eyes, my voice calm and restrained. The marriage agreement was witnessed by both clans and the royal family. It is a lawful alliance recognized by the entire werewolf society. An alliance. Lade sneered. The visceral bloodline has been sealed for generations. Your family has never been able to fully transform. You are the abandoned daughter of a so-called broken bloodline that the entire wolf race despises. He paused, his smile growing colder. I kept you all these years only because I respected the old noble's wishes. The beta woman beside him laughed softly. Lord Grey deserves a partner with a high-ranking bloodline. Why should he waste his future on a hollow shell with no wolf power? Lade raised his hand, silencing them, then looked at me again. Today, in front of everyone, I declare that my engagement with you is officially over. From this moment onward, you and I have nothing to do with each other. Laughter erupted throughout the hall. The humiliation pressed down on me like a heavy mountain, making it hard to breathe. But at that very moment, a terrifying, overwhelming alpha aura descended upon the entire banquet hall. Every laugh stopped instantly. Every noble instinctively lowered their heads, unable to even look directly at the newcomer. Kaelin Thorne, the supreme alpha of the wolf clans, the only pure-blooded black wolf king in the entire territory. He stepped down from the royal platform, one step at a time, and walked directly toward me. Then he stood in front of me, completely shielding me from everyone's eyes. His golden eyes locked onto Lade, cold and merciless. His deep voice echoed through the grand hall. Grey, you publicly destroyed a marriage contract endorsed by the royal family. Do you know what law you have violated? Lade's expression changed instantly, but he forced himself to remain calm. Your Majesty, she has an incomplete bloodline. She cannot awaken her wolf power. Everyone knows she is unworthy of becoming my mate. Kaelin's eyes darkened. The blood resonance of a destined mate trembled within his chest. He sensed it, a faint trace of ancient power hidden beneath my seal, a force that had been sleeping for countless years. His voice was cold and absolute. Unworthy. He stared at Lade. Then explain why her scent is the only one in this world that carries my destined mate bond. The entire hall froze. Lade's face turned completely pale. He staggered backward, disbelief filling his eyes. No. Impossible. He shouted desperately. A defective bloodline cannot trigger a destined alpha bond. That is the law of the wolf race. Your Majesty, your senses must be mistaken. Kaelin looked down at him, his presence suffocating. You dare question the blood perception of a pure-blooded alpha? I would never dare. Lade immediately dropped to one knee, cold sweat soaking his clothes. But this concerns the continuation of the royal bloodline. Such a matter cannot be decided without careful consideration. Destiny has never been determined by the strength of one's bloodline. Kaelin's voice remained emotionless. You humiliated your betrothed in public, violated a royal contract, and disgraced the honor of the wolf clans. For these crimes alone, your hereditary title can be revoked. No noble dared to speak. At that moment, Duke Arya stepped forward. He bowed respectfully, but his words carried hidden malice. Your Majesty, forgive my boldness. Isarel's incomplete bloodline has been confirmed for 100 years. If the royal family establishes a bond based only on a single moment of resonance, it may damage the dignity of the throne and make the entire wolf race question your authority. Kaelin glanced at him. One look was enough to see through his manipulation. My destiny does not require anyone else's judgment. He turned toward me. The killing intent in his golden eyes faded. For the first time, there was only the solemn recognition an alpha gives to his one and only mate. Your engagement with the Grey family is annulled immediately. Lade suddenly raised his head. Your Majesty, You have no right to overturn a political marriage contract. The highest law of the wolf race follows the will of destiny. Kaelin's voice shook the entire hall. From this day forward, Israel is the only royal mate candidate recognized by me. The nobles erupted into chaos. Everyone believed I had risen from disgrace to glory overnight. But only I knew the truth. Inside my body was a forbidden moon goddess bloodline powerful enough to overturn everything the wolf race believed. And when I looked up, I saw Duke Arya lowering his head. A sinister smile curled at the corner of his mouth. He already knew. He had discovered the weakness of my seal. And a deadly trap against me had already begun. I was placed in a secluded royal residence. It appeared to be an honor. But in reality, countless royal eyes watched my every move. After nightfall, Duke Arya dismissed all servants and entered the courtyard alone. His elegant mask disappeared completely. A single night transformed you from an abandoned woman whose engagement was destroyed into the destined mate of the Wolf King. He smiled coldly. Are you proud? I looked directly at him. Duke Arya, you did not come here just to mock me. He laughed softly and stepped closer. You do not have a broken bloodline. His voice became colder. You carry an ancient seal. A strange power capable of deceiving even the strongest alpha's senses. I remained silent. I have investigated the Errol family for decades. His eyes turned vicious. You are not a broken bloodline. You are a forbidden bloodline erased from history. You deceived the king. You fabricated a mate bond. Your entire family could be executed for this. I calmly asked, what do you want? He smiled. Give up your royal mate status voluntarily. Tell the world that the bond was a mistake. In return, I will spare the remaining members of your family and restore your old territory. He paused. But if you refuse, I will expose your seal in front of everyone, and your family will be destroyed forever. At that moment, a voice colder than winter echoed from outside the corridor. Try to ing her. Just try. Kaelin stood beneath the moonlight. His alpha pressure instantly locked down the entire courtyard. Arya's body stiffened. Your Majesty. He quickly bowed. I was merely concerned that you might be deceived by forbidden power. I was acting for the stability of the kingdom. My mate is not someone you are allowed to threaten. Kaelin's voice was merciless. Royal matters are beyond your authority. Arya's eyes flashed with hatred. But he could only lower his head and leave. The courtyard became silent. Kaelin's gaze fell upon the seal around my neck. This is not a broken bloodline seal. His voice was certain. It is an ancient moon goddess wolf blood restriction curse. My entire body froze. The greatest secret I had hidden for more than a decade. He had seen through it instantly. I forced myself to remain calm. The royal archives contain no record of the moon goddess bloodline. The records were destroyed. Kaelin answered directly. Arya controlled the royal library for years. He erased every piece of history that could threaten his ambition. The moon goddess bloodline can threaten you? I asked. Yes. He admitted without hesitation. Pure-blooded alphas possess overwhelming power. But their instincts can become uncontrollable. Only the moon goddess descendants can stabilize the alpha's true nature. Arya wants absolute control over the throne. He will never allow me to possess a bond capable of restraining him. At that moment, his servant Saran rushed into the courtyard. Your Majesty, Lade Grey has arrived with the original marriage contract. He claims the engagement remains valid and demands that his position as fiancé be restored. Moments later, Lade entered. He held the parchment tightly, unwilling to accept reality. Your Majesty, this contract was approved by both clans. You cannot simply erase it. Kaelin looked at him coldly. The man who destroyed the engagement publicly yesterday was you. The entire hall witnessed it. Now you wish to reverse your words. It was only anger. Lade gritted his teeth. Anger does not erase responsibility. Kaelin raised a new royal contract. The old contract is destroyed. The new contract is established. Israel and I will form a royal bond. Lade's face turned pale. You are forcing this. The Grey family will never accept it. Then lose your territory. Lose your hereditary title. Kaelin's voice was emotionless. You may gamble. Lade trembled. But in the end, he could only leave in humiliation. The storm seemed to pass. But outside the courtyard, a gray-black wolf shadow disappeared into the darkness. Arya's spy had heard everything. And now he possessed the greatest weapon against me. My true identity. Continuing the translation. To avoid the eyes of the royal court, I spent my days resting in the forests behind the royal palace. One afternoon, while walking through the woods, a wounded young wolf suddenly collapsed before me. Its body was covered in deep wounds. Blood flowed from its torn flesh. It could not even maintain a low-level transformation. 2 royal guards passed by. They glanced at the injured wolf but showed no intention of helping. A low-ranking branch wolf, one that is not worth wasting royal medicine on. I stepped forward and stopped them. The royal laws protect every wolf clan child. You have no right to ignore a life. The guards looked at me hesitantly. Lady Israel, healing supplies must be reserved for warriors. The weak are naturally eliminated by the laws of survival. I crouched down beside the young wolf. My fingers gently touched its wound. At that moment, the power hidden beneath my seal broke free. A faint silver glow spread from my fingertips. The bleeding stopped. The torn flesh began to heal. The weak should never be abandoned simply because they are powerless. A voice came from behind me. Footsteps approached. Kalen stood among the trees. He had witnessed everything. The guards immediately lowered their heads and retreated. His gaze rested on the silver light still, lingering on my fingertips. His expression was no longer cold. Instead, there was genuine emotion in his eyes. The nobles of the royal court fight for power and personal gain. But you were willing to spend your own bloodline power to save a creature everyone considered worthless. I stood up slowly. I know what it feels like to be abandoned by an entire CL. And I know what despair looks like. For the first time, the cold and ruthless Alpha King was truly moved by my heart. Until now, he had viewed our bond only as a political necessity. But in this moment, something changed inside him. The destined connection between us was no longer just a bloodline command. It became real affection, real concern, real love. Suddenly, Saran rushed into the forest. His expression was grim. Your Majesty, Duke Arya has gathered more than a dozen noble families. They have jointly submitted a petition accusing Lady Israel of using forbidden power to manipulate the king. They demand that the royal bond be immediately dissolved and that she be sent to clan judgment. Kalen's eyes turned icy. He moved faster than expected. Saran lowered his voice. Then he delivered the most shocking news. The Duke has surrounded the old visceral residence. He has captured the remaining members of her family. He intends to force Lady Israel to confess by threatening her clan. I immediately understood everything. He never cared whether my power was exposed. He only wanted to force me into surrender. Kalen's voice became cold and protective. You do not need to go. I can send troops and rescue your family. Immediately. No. I rejected him without hesitation. If you suppress them by force, they will accuse you of protecting forbidden bloodlines and ignoring royal law. They will unite under that excuse and turn against the throne. The entire kingdom could fall into chaos. Kalen's expression darkened. So you plan to let him control you? I looked directly at him. I will go to the royal court. I will not confess. I will expose his conspiracy. Silence filled the forest. After a moment, Kalen finally lowered his gaze. Then I will go with you. Anyone who dares judge you today will become my enemy. We arrived at the royal council hall. Every noble was already gathered. Duke Arya stood at the center. His expression was righteous. His words were poisonous. This woman possesses forbidden power. She has deceived His Majesty. She threatens the stability of the entire wolf race. He turned toward me. Israel Visceral, do you admit your crimes? I walked forward calmly. My voice echoed through the hall. I have no crime to confess. The nobles stared at me. Arya raised his voice. You used unknown bloodline power. The evidence is undeniable. I looked straight at him. My power was never forbidden. It was someone who altered history. Someone who turned a sacred bloodline into a false curse. Kaelin stepped forward. His voice shook the entire hall. Her power has never harmed our people. The true person who has brought chaos to this kingdom is you, Arya. For a moment, the entire situation began to turn. But then, Arya suddenly raised his hand. A black crystal appeared in his palm. A sinister smile crossed his face. This origin crystal preserves the truth. Look at what she has done. Her power is consuming the Alpha King's core. The black crystal floated into the center of the hall. A scene appeared. It showed me healing the injured young wolf in the forest. But the beginning and ending had been deliberately removed. Only the moment when my power emerged remained. The nobles immediately erupted. So that is why. His Majesty has changed. He has been controlled by forbidden power. Forbidden bloodlines will weaken the Alpha's strength. She must be removed immediately. Arya took advantage of the chaos. Your Majesty has already been corrupted. If she remains, the royal bloodline will collapse. The wolf race will perish. Lade stood among the crowd, watching silently, waiting for my destruction. I stepped forward. I was not afraid. The image is incomplete. You intentionally removed the truth. The hall became quiet. I looked at Arya. Healing the weak is not corruption. If my power truly harmed an Alpha's core, then His Majesty, the strongest pure-blood Alpha in existence, would have suffered bloodline rejection. He would have experienced pain. He would have lost control. I raised my voice. But look at him now. His power remains intact. His authority remains untouched. Explain this. The nobles fell silent. Doubt appeared in their eyes. At that moment, Kaelin gave a signal. Saran stepped forward, holding an ancient yellowed manuscript. Duke Arya altered the royal archives. He erased the existence of the moon goddess bloodline. Kaelin's voice was cold. This ancient record clearly states, the moon goddess bloodline is the sacred guardian of the Alpha lineage. It stabilizes the beast instinct. It protects the kingdom. It preserves the balance of the wolf race. The true enemy was never Israel. It was you. Arya's face turned pale. His lies had collapsed. His disguise was destroyed. Then he laughed. A twisted, terrifying laugh. Since the truth has been discovered, there is no reason for me to pretend anymore. His wolf power exploded. I spent more than 10 years hiding, waiting for the chance to eliminate the only bloodline capable of stopping me, to take control of this kingdom. At that moment, a badly wounded soldier rushed into the hall. He fell to his knees. Your Majesty, the 3 border territories have rebelled. They have all answered Duke Arya's command. The entire kingdom is at war. The entire royal court fell into panic. Arya laughed wildly. My forces have already spread throughout the borders. The royal army has been sealed by my curse. Their transformation ability has been weakened. Your throne is finished. Everyone felt the weight of despair. A true dead end. I stepped forward. Slowly. I reached for the seal around my neck, and removed the ancient restriction that had hidden my true bloodline for years. A brilliant silver light erupted. The sacred aura of the ancient moon goddess bloodline swept across the entire hall. You only knew that I could heal, but you never knew. I can break every forbidden seal in this world. I looked directly at Arya. The curse you placed upon the royal army is nothing before the power of the moon goddess bloodline. At that moment, a powerful wolf howl echoed across the distant sky. The sound shook the entire palace. Saran Dar up to his knees in excitement. Your Majesty, the restrictions have been completely broken. The royal army has regained its full transformation ability. They have defeated the rebel forces and surrounded the palace. Arya's eyes widened. Impossible. Complete disbelief filled his face. No. The lost power to break ancient seals. How could you possess it? I looked at him calmly. You destroyed the records. But you could never destroy destiny. Kaelin moved. In an instant, his overwhelming alpha power locked onto Arya. He pressed him to the ground with one hand, altering royal history, framing the royal mate. kidnapping civilians, starting a rebellion, attempting to overthrow the throne. Kalen's voice was colder than steel. Your crimes are unforgivable. Lu, your noble status is revoked. Your royal privileges are stripped. You are banished forever to the Forbidden Lands. The guards dragged away the defeated Arya. The rebellion ended. The conspiracy collapsed. Lade stood frozen. All arrogance had disappeared. He lowered his head calm. Completely. He no longer had the courage to speak. Kalen turned around. In front of every noble in the kingdom. He took my hand. His voice carried throughout the hall. Israel Visceral, the rightful successor of the moon goddess bloodline. My one and only destined mate. Today, I proclaim you the queen of the wolf kingdom. Together, we shall rule this land. Together, we shall protect our people forever. The entire hall fell to its knees. The humiliation, the hatred, the years of rejection, the endless schemes, everything was reversed. The abandoned daughter once called a useless bloodline had become the queen who stood beside the Wolf King. Forbidden bloodline had finally returned to glory. After all the nobles left, only the two of us remained inside the vast royal hall. Kalen removed all traces of his cold kingly presence. His eyes held only tenderness. Before this, I thought our bond was merely a political necessity. But now I understand. You are the only person who can complete my destiny. I smiled faintly. From this day forward, we will share the mountains and rivers. We will face every storm together. At that moment, the moon goddess mark on my neck suddenly erupted with unimaginable light. The ancient power that had slept for thousands of years awakened completely. The true mission belonging to me, the power capable of reshaping the entire wolf world, had only just begun.